To begin our studies today, I'd like for you to take a look at what happened here. Perhaps your brain has already made some judgment calls. Maybe you think that this dog killed this lamb. It looks a little suspicious. The lamb is clearly not in good shape physically. But here's the rest of the picture. This is actually pulled from a news story about a 10-year-old German Shepherd who found that lamb drowning in a creek. He pulled it out and licked it until it actually coughed up water and started breathing again. We've heard stories similar to this many times about livestock guardian dogs, and we know that typically they're very loyal to a herd. However, not all dogs are guardian dogs, and so oftentimes dogs can also hurt sheep or other animals as well. The reason I showed you this picture is to reiterate the fact that as we move forward in studying applied agricultural technologies, you need to step back far enough to see the whole picture. We as human beings have an ethical responsibility to do enough research to see the whole picture or situation. We live in a society that surrounds us with misinformation, partial information. Sometimes it's even very well-meaning, but still incorrect. If we are to create real solutions to improve the agriculture industry that's so important to all of us, we have to take the time to research and develop ideas. And that's what you'll begin doing today. The purpose of this unit has been to answer the question: what are some of the new and innovative approaches that can continue to develop efficiency and effectiveness in agriculture? This question is important because we know that the Earth's population is projected to grow by another 2 billion in the next 30 years. Experts say that that means we'll need to produce as much as 56% more food in order to feed our world. This is one of my favorite quotes by Albert Einstein. He said, "If I had an hour to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about the solution." What he meant was, to come up with good solutions, you have to understand a problem very deeply. And so, over the last bit of time in this class, you have looked at a lot of different parts of agriculture. You've looked at the things that we're doing to currently be a more effective and more efficient. Today, you're going to look at that through a very particular lens. We each see something very differently, almost through a different lens, like we're looking through a different pair of glasses. What we see in a scenario or a situation is affected by the life experiences we've had, what we were taught in school, what our parents taught us, what experiences we had firsthand, what society has taught us. And so, as you begin to use resources around you, physically, as in books, or asking questions of your classmates and your instructors, or virtual resources, keep in mind that we have to consider all of the ideas. And sometimes an idea might look funny through your lens, but be very effective if you look at it long enough. Today, you'll be assigned a lens to focus on, to analyze the efficiency and effectiveness of agriculture. So, in order to practice this skill, we're going to go through an example. The topic we're going to analyze is, can we eat ice cream for lunch? Not after lunch, I mean for lunch. My great grandma was a big fan of eating your dessert first to make sure you had room for it. And so you'll be assigned a lens which will look at this topic of eating ice cream for lunch and ask different questions. If you're assigned the policy lens, you're going to look at policies about eating ice cream for lunch. Is it against school rules? Is it really bad nutrition? You might look at those things. If you're assigned the economic lens, you might look at it through a money view. Who will pay for the ice cream that we're going to eat for lunch? Isn't ice cream more expensive than the typical school lunch. And so, economically, is this a really good idea for us? Maybe you're assigned the social lens. And in the social lens, you might look at the social implications. Is it feasible and fair for all students to eat ice cream for lunch every day? Perhaps you're assigned an environmental lens. And so you would look at how this decision would affect the environment. How will eating ice cream affect the environment? What if people leave their wrappers all over the place? Do we actually have a place to store that much ice cream for so many people? While this is kind of a silly example, you can see that when we study a lens, we're looking at a very isolated part of an idea or a topic. And so for our exercise today, you will be assigned a lens. And instead, you will analyze the use of different agricultural technologies with these lenses. The policy lens will kind of look at what do we do policy wise in the United States that might be helping or hindering process. The economic lens will look at how does money affect the use of this technology. The social lens will be how does this problem or solution affect people? And the environmental lens will study will this potential solution change the environment? And if so, is it in a positive way or a negative way? We've studied a lot of things in the past while, and you will take a look at all of those as you answer the questions that are assigned to you today. So think through as you're working the labs we've done on hydroponics, aquaponics, aeroponics. Think about what you learned about GPS and the use of that in helping with seeding and spraying overlap. Think about all the ways we use robotics in agriculture. We talked about topics such as using surveillance in barns and electronic tags and different identification methods. Think about what you learned about thermal imaging and drone use. Can we use drones in population counts? How can we change the genetics of a plant to be more effective and nutritious? Do we use our irrigation water wisely? How can we get better at it? How can we use data to predict animal health? Can we use data to predict crop health? How do we use data to help us keep the soil health high and affect moisture rates? There are many technologies already available to us, and I fully believe that your generation will continue to develop technologies that make us more effective. There are some resources at this website which will help you in a variety of these topics. You're going to spend some time in your lens groups and you're going to pick through one or two of the questions and research for about 10 minutes and kind of discuss those. As a group, the policy lens group will then jot down some notes on your big piece of paper. Keep in mind, you don't have to answer all questions. Some groups will work far faster and go further than others. Each of these lenses has a variety of questions, and you will find these in the presentation, and also your teacher should have printed them on a piece of paper for your group. Oftentimes, when I'm answering big questions, it leads me to more questions, and that's okay. So please feel free to write down ideas, notes, and questions on your big papers as you begin to look at the problem and the struggles and potential solutions of agriculture efficiency through your lenses.